Welcome back to my animal education series. Today I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about clown frogs and red-eyed tree frogs. Right here I have one of my clown frogs. I also have a female which is in the enclosure, and we have yet to find out her new hiding place, so we couldn't find her in the brief time that we looked for her, so we got the male. The difference between the males and the females is that the females typically about an inch longer than the males when fully grown, and that's pretty much the only sexually dimorphic thing about them. But these guys are endemic to the Amazon basin in South America, and they like tropical rainforests where the temperature is about like 75 to 80 degrees, and they like the same thing in captivity. And they also prefer humidity about 60 to 70%, and that is true in captivity as well. There are 5 subspecies of clown frogs, and there's not a whole lot of information about any of them. It's just, since they're all endemic to the same area, it's just really broad, and it's the same information for all of them, just with slight differences in exactly where they're found and in the colorations. They are called clown frogs because of the super bright pattern they have. During the day, like it is right now, they are a bit duller than usual, but usually that yellow and the orange is super bright. The orange is still pretty bright, but the yellow really pops in the evening or at nighttime, which is one of my favorite things about these frogs. So let's put them back in the enclosure and kind of show you around there. Now let me tell you a little bit about their cage. Here we have some kind of plant that I'm not exactly sure what it is. But this thing's doing really well in this enclosure, and they love hiding down in here where there's little crevices for them to do so. We got a piece of driftwood and a cork tube down there, and on the piece of driftwood there's a little branch where he's sitting on right now. Down on the bottom here we have frog moss, which helps soak up a little bit more of the water when we missed it, because we also missed this enclosure to help maintain humidity versus all the other animal enclosures. We have this little cup of water here with rocks in it, so that it's not too deep and the frogs can easily get out of it if they so choose to use that. We got a fern up here which has been doing better recently, but it's still a bit rough. We have another plant in the back which has been doing pretty good. And with the plant in the back and this one here, it provides a bunch of little crevices and places for the frogs to hide. And I've noticed that at least that one really likes this big plant here. And until we find out where that female is, I'm going to assume she likes it as well. So let's move over back to the table and start talking about some red-eyed tree frogs. Here we have one of my 4 red-eyed tree frogs. I absolutely love these frogs, and ever since we got our first red-eyed tree frogs about 2 years ago, we've always had them in our collection. And who can look at this frog and disagree that it's a beautiful animal? So these guys are really popular in the pet trade because of all the vibrant colors, from the bright green to the bright red eyes, the bright orange feet, and the blue and the yellow stripes on the side and underneath. These are a brilliantly colored animal, and I absolutely love them. And of course, now as soon as we start filming, he's going to start moving around. Let's see if we can get him on my hand real quick. There we go. So these guys are found in southern Mexico, Central America, and into Colombia. These guys also like higher temperatures and high humidity, like the clown frogs, but these guys prefer about 75 to 85 degrees Fahrenheit and around 60 to 70% humidity as well. So these guys in the wild would eat crickets, mosquitoes, moths, flies, and other insects like that. And that is true for the clown frogs as well, but the clown frogs are indeed smaller than these guys. These guys would get about 2 to 3 inches depending on the sex. Females will of course be larger than the males, as is true with most frogs in general. But I just love these guys. What's really cool about these guys is that they are nocturnal, also like the clown frogs. But these guys, when they're sleeping during the day, will tuck up their legs up right next to them, so you don't see any color besides the bright green that you see now. They'll close their eyes so the red's gone, all their legs are under them, so you don't see the orange of the feet, and you don't see the sides of them at all either. So there's a small green blob in the enclosure, and we have a bunch of live plants in there. So a lot of times it's really difficult to find these guys. It's a rare occasion if you find 2 or 3 of these guys, let alone all 4. But usually we always find this guy because he's sitting on the front leaf about half the day. But these guys are so cool with their camouflage and then their super bright colors. I can't talk about the colors enough. They're just brilliant animals. So now let's go take a look at their enclosure. Now we're going to go ahead and put him back in here. You can go back home, little dude. You can already see kind of how that green will blend in with all the plants in there. We have several pieces of driftwood in here. We have a small water bowl for them to go into if they desire. We have more frog moss in here to help soak up the water as well. We have a large bromeliad in the back, and these plants have done really well in here. We have plant lights up on top, which has just exploded the growth in these plants, because they're relatively small when we got them, and they've just grown and grown and grown, and the frogs absolutely love this enclosure. They can go pretty much anywhere and just hide and be completely out of sight. I hope you guys enjoyed learning about my little tree frogs today. I absolutely love these guys and I love keeping them, and I definitely got to keep these guys in the collection. One thing I did forget to mention is that both of these species of frogs will live about 5 to 6 years, but the clown frogs have been known to stay up to 8 to 10 years in captivity, while the red-eyed tree frogs typically stay around 5 to 6 years in captivity as well. But thank you guys so much for watching this week's video. Don't forget to leave a big thumbs up down below, subscribe to my channel, and as always, I'll see you next week.